word enclave, when you use the word enclave, does that have anything to do with CMMC, or is it just a term you use in terms of how you have the product architected with Leron and team?
Interesting that you would seek to make that connection, Andrew. No, it doesn't really have anything to do with CMMC. Well, it kind of does because our product is completely separate from everything else in Kaseya. It is its own enclave. And we are actually under active C3PO review right now. We are in our CMMC2 final audit for SaaS Alerts, which will encompass very quickly KSIM and Rocket Cyber 2.0. But I'm building out the rest of the products, starting with what we call our top seven. I'm in the process of using the team that I'm now in charge of to get them all audit ready. Those of you who have been through this kind of stuff know how much work is involved, in particular for products or orgs that haven't done it before. So there's a lot of documentation going on. There's a lot of controls for NIST, for CMMC, and for FedRAMP 20X. Those are the two things that we're pursuing. So we are very, very aggressively going after this as a company. And you guys have gotten to know me. They asked me to do it. So like I don't once the foot's on the gas, I don't take it off. So we'll see results by the end of the year.
That's awesome. And then just lastly, any is it GCC? Is it FedRAMP? Like, what is the where are the markers for you?
Yep. So the markers for FedRAMP 20X are interesting. They don't require GCC, but they do require you to be in a CSP that can support GCC. We are doing build outs with all three of the main CSP providers, Azure, GCP, and AWS, because we have products running in all of them already, and we're shifting some other products to them. And we will be capable of moving them into GCC or GCC high on an as need basis, depending upon what the customer need is.
Okay, very cool. Other wins out there.
Customer wins, there's got to be some.
Yeah, there's got to be something going on. We got Gary on the phone. It's, it's got to be something there.
Not this week.
Nothing? All
One,
right.
one that
To kick
made
it
me
off,
feel
Andrew, you're talking about wins. I mean, Canada won, so
Did it just end, Mark?
yeah, just
Okay. Got it. How
you
about
guys
you,
play this
Ben?
afternoon.
Ben, one thing I do have here, maybe we could just no, I had this slide, right, Ben, but let's just jump to this. What were your big takeaways from a packed room and you know, um, any aha moments, anything surprised you when you were doing the training and certification?
Mm, Surprised on how fast time went by.
How much you needed more?
Yeah, I think so. We have a meeting, I think, Tim and Chip and I to discuss kind of what we can do better. I think really like separating out and kind of making it more module to really focus on where people are because we had kind of a wide range of knowledge in that
Okay.
room. There's some people had never even seen the platform before, and then some people that like Mike and Dave have been in there for years. So
And then were there some of the people that never used it? Were they actual customers? I'm sorry, that never seen the platform. Were they actual customers?
I think they were. I think they just had never really like jumped into it and started to learn about it. So we
Got it.
really want to make it so that you can pick and choose what you're interested in, and we'll take time to focus on that. I could have probably spent a good hour and a half on just the API. So
Yeah, Andrew, Ben, as we were doing some prep work beforehand, which I'm sure you're familiar with that process, Andrew. Ben was convinced that that we would have a hard time filling the 2.5 hours, and I remember saying to him, like, Ben, I will be cutting chunks out of this as you're going along just to try and get us in under the wire. And we wound up having to do exactly that, just kind of hop over some things. And Ben did a good job sort of ad hoc realizing, okay, if I'm going to get to some important meat, I need to skip 10 slides here and get past it.
Yep.
So it was good, but we had some good, excellent questions from the audience. Some very basic ones, as Ben alluded to, but also some really, really solid ones. We had a couple of good product suggestions that fell out of that I've already passed on to Adam and Jason and Leron.
Hmm.
And we had some pretty qualified experts challenging us to do some things better, which is good. And also saying, wow, I didn't know you guys did that. I didn't know the platform did that. I've been using it for 3 years and I never saw that before. So it was good. It was a good first run overall. And as Ben said, we're going to regroup and look at how we can improve, as I think you should do after every time you go through a presentation. And we'll continue to iterate it forward and make it better.
Yeah, postmortems are critical. With the Ben, just out of curiosity, API questions, what, as an example, was it a lot about, hey, how do I do this, pull this data into my SIM? Was it automation with like a roost? Like what were the API questions centered around?
We didn't get a chance to spend too much time on the API, but I just wanted to kind of cover how to use it. And I think just trying to wrap their heads around it was what they were really focusing on. But I don't think
Okay.
we had, Chip, I don't remember too many API centric questions. Do you?
There were a couple at the very end.
Okay.
I don't know if you recall, Ben, before you got into the API section, I asked the question of the room, who here uses the API? And interestingly enough, not a single hand went up. There wasn't a single person in that room
Yeah.
who uses the
Wow.
SaaS Alerts API. And then I asked, well, who is really
Except for
interested in
Corey.
it? Except for Corey, but Corey wasn't in the room.
No, he was not.
Who was interested in using the API? And I think
Yeah.
two guys, Ben, those two guys in the back of the room, on the right hand side,
Yeah.
from your view, and
Hmm.
they were pretty knowledgeable about it. So what Ben did is just explain how to get to the API and a little bit how APIs work and function. And then Ben being Ben, of course, he did an AI automation demonstration using the API, which I thoroughly enjoyed. It might have been over the head of a few people there because you're introducing tools that maybe others haven't even seen before, but it was still worthwhile.
Yeah.
Interesting. Andy.
Yeah, I had a question for Ben. Ben, does your Tuesday morning class have a video of how to set up the APIs for use and practical use applications? Because I think promoting that or making us more aware would be helpful to the entire community.
Yeah. I did a video on how to use the webhooks, which is something a lot of people ask us how to do that. It's a way for us to get the events from our system over to yours without you having to query them. So I did a video of that. I thought about doing a video on just kind of the overall how to use the API, especially when I started running out of time. I was like, I should put together some sort of video
Yep.
and give that to them.
And then maybe even take it to a point where you target to the looking for these security or compliance requirements would be helpful too.
Yeah. Yeah, most of the time it's people asking us how can I have longer retention or how can I get all the same information that's in your system in mine so that I can archive it for longer purposes, which does align with compliance.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hmm.
Fantastic. Hey, Corey, how was your session, by the way, real quick? I don't want to leave you hanging, but
Oh
you
no,
you had you're I know
it
this is a
was
SaaS Alerts call, but I do want to point out you had two sessions that were filled to the brim.
yeah, it was good. I definitely didn't expect that many people on the second day. I figured it was gonna be an empty room, so I didn't even mentally prepare for it.
Oh,
But there
wow.
was more than the first one. So um no, it was good. And that was I think a win for me as well is uh trying not to go on a rambling here, but
That's
a
okay.
lot of people still don't realize the how can I put this politically? There's posts on Reddit as an example, right? Where people look at a face value of an organization and don't understand that there's more. So people know SonicWall is a firewall company. A lot of people still don't realize that they've acquired my previous organization and other organizations, just like Kaseya. People know Kaseya, and some might not realize they acquired SaaS Alerts. And so, I love being a thought leader and kind of expressing and getting those ideas out there. I felt like a lot of people had a they felt like, oh, this is someone from SonicWall. They're going to try to get me to buy SonicWalls, and there was 0 sales. So I got a lot of great feedback off of it. A lot of it's just education based, so that's great. I had that tearful moment where I had someone reach out to me on LinkedIn. I was like, oh, where she's like, oh, I really learned a lot. It was my favorite session. I'm like, okay, hey. So I felt good.
That's
But
awesome.
it did start a lot of conversation, and it got a lot of people to realize that, the initial big parent company isn't everything it might have been 5 years ago. I mean, again, look at Kaseya, look at the amount of acquisitions, look at the changes that Kaseya has been through. And so someone from the outside that doesn't do their research, they could be pleasantly surprised or shocked by how the whole industry is changing.
Well, I don't know why you're surprised it was full. I said we're selling sexy at Right a Boom, and we delivered. So,
I don't know who wants to come listen to me talk, but people showed up. So
I booed him too.
He did.
Hey, Andrew,
I did have a couple of ADD moments though, where I started going down a rabbit hole, and I was like, "Oh crap, what was I talking about?" When I have this, I have my microphone, my camera, and I have a second monitor to kind of remind me. When I go, what the heck was I talking about? I didn't have that there, so there was a couple of moments I was like, "What was I just saying?"
So, Andrew, what was the attendance increase? Was it 20 points? Close to it?
Not quite. About, I think it was 12. We were right around 900, over 1,000 tickets sold, but I think it was a really nice size. But Tobin.
Hey, Corey, what might be helpful is I get my monthly updates from SonicWall from my regular sales rep. It would be great if somehow you could kick something up the chain that would, have the sales reps reach out to people and say, hey, it's not your father's SonicWall anymore. Because most of the stuff you were talking about, I didn't know SonicWall did.
Yeah.
And it's clearly, I mean, the world revolves around marketing right now, and the fact that SonicWall hasn't pushed all this out is a shame, because what a lot of what you had to say was really relevant and was so much bigger than what SonicWall is. So I don't know if you have any power to kick that up the chain, or if you need me to start a nasty letter writing campaign saying,
"Oh, trust me, I have a very loud voice. There is a lot of changes happening. I think a lot of it is, again, it's so I had this, and I'll just be blunt with people on this call. When SaaS Alerts was acquired by Kaseya, people taking advantage of our SaaS Alerts offering, they're like, oh, now it's gonna be Kaseya, and I don't like Kaseya, so why should I keep this offering? And it's like, well, okay, guys, just because you had this initial impression of this organization, you had one bad experience, right? Everything evolves, and when you have the right people that especially go into an organization, they get heard, and changes start happening, especially those that are more heavily involved in the channel community. And so that's something that SonicWall has been leaning on Michael and myself for. That's something I'm starting to see in the Kaseya world as well, since the acquisition of SaaS Alerts. And it's, we've had this huge presence and some loud voices within the community that can help bring the better change to these. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
And Chip, you and I had that same conversation, because I had said that Kaseya is so much better since you and Jim got there. And I wasn't just looking for the free stuff you gave me, but it was, it's really true, and this is the first time in MSP history where bigger companies that bought smaller companies, the smaller company is making a bigger change in the big company than has ever happened before. It used to be, our way or the highway. So it's nice to see companies like Kaseya and SonicWall that are actually listening to the people that they're acquiring and saying, hey, don't just, make shoes and do it the way we've always done it.
Yeah, we're working hard at that, Tobin. And credit is due to, I think, probably SonicWall and Kaseya's management, that part of their acquisition strategy was to find people that actually understood the channel, and they're willing to take guidance and follow example and take criticism for how they've operated in the past. I mean, I expect that that's Corey and Michael's experience as well, but that's certainly been the experience that Jim and I have had, that we are sought out to help realign the company's principles and vision with how the channel expects it to be.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I hope a bunch of big companies buy little companies and do the right thing. And I'm happy to be bought anytime you want, Chip. I'll meet you for lunch.
All right, we're gonna start a roll up, starting with Tobin. Corey, you in?
Do it. Come on. I'm in.
What are we buying and selling?
We're buying up MSPs, Enrique, and you're gonna be the first one we're gonna come get.
Awesome. Let's do it.
Not for sale.
By the way, real quick, Enrique, I saw you on I believe, yeah, it was you on an ASCII marketing thing on their LinkedIn. As it was scrolling pictures, I believe I saw you on there.
Dang.
Yeah.
I need to charge royalty there.
That's
Thank you
it.
for letting me
That's
know,
it.
Corey.
You're one of their models for their upcoming conferences.
I need to go look it out now.
Oh my God! Now he's a model.
You're the one that said I look like I don't know who. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but
All right, so we're still in wins of the week here, Andrew, and no one's come up with a win of the week from the crew. I guess everyone was so busy at Writer Boom, or it's just been really quiet.
Well,
No one got. Go
this
ahead.
is Jerry.
Hey, Jerry.
I kind of had one this past week. I'm fairly new to SaaS Alerts and still struggling to make sure I've got everything configured correctly. In fact, in December, there was somebody on this call with SaaS Alerts that we set up a meeting, and he was going to help me go through it, but something happened and we didn't make that meeting. So I've been trying to remember who that was. But evidently I do have something configured right, because on Friday I got a call from SaaS Alerts saying that one of my clients had a successful brute force login. And that SaaS Alerts had blocked that account. They give me that account information. So I started investigating and found out that, yeah, it was one of my client's users. And basically I called him, and what happened was he had a new laptop, couldn't remember his password. So he kept trying to log in, and he tried it too many times, and it locked him out, and they called me. So that was a win to me, because I got some feedback that something's actually, working like it was intended. So
That's a great win, Jerry.
Really good stuff.
Awesome.
Let's see. Anything else? All right. I'm excited. Adam, are we ready to go with this chatbot demo?
I sure hope so.
All right. Very excited.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Adam's about to have a Bill Gates moment.
Yeah, I know. It's always scary. So some of you on this call have seen this because you were on the call yesterday where I did this. So now this is the point at which you can go do a potty break or get some coffee, or you can stand around and heckle, whichever you would prefer. So,
what call was that?
well, everybody but you were on it, Enrique. Sorry.
Again, Adam? Wow.
It's another call that I run, KSIM call. So,
Oh, I was on it. I was on it.
Oh, well, I appreciate you paying attention. That's fantastic, Enrique.
Maybe I should stop doing 3 webinars at once.
All right.
You've been busted, Enrique.
Yeah, seriously. All right. I'm going to share my bank statement. I think. I don't know that I'll ever stop saying
remember
that now.
that part. You had a very healthy bank statement.
Yes. All right. So this is the disclaimer. This is early days, but we're all excited to get it out in front of you. We've been talking about it for a while. We've built the foundation of this, and it's working as we expect, but with everything that is new and AI and really pushing the limits, we are still tuning it. So some of the responses, as you guys throw things at me, might be nonsensical. It may not answer it right, but I do want to show you where we're at this point. So very early days still. I think that's the good.
I'll be right in a second. Just gotta put some people on hold.
I'm gonna mute.
Bye.
No. Okay. All right. So we have a little AI assistant button here on the corner, and we can do things like, oh, I don't want to yell at it. Sorry. What's up with Adam at SaaSalerts.com, for instance? And so it's going in, it's dipping into the data right now, and it's going to come back and it's going to give me a summary of this particular user's stuff. So as you can see, sorry, Chip, I don't actually work much. I only have 27 events inside the system. So it shows me that I've got 27 events. 26 of them were a low status. One of them was a critical. You can see that all of the events or most of the events came in on a Mac. And you can kind of see some other stuff. Simpsonville with 21 events, Traveler's Wrath was 6. I could say something like, what IPs did he use? And as I mentioned on the call yesterday, the fact that I used he and not respecifying Adam at SaaSalerts.com is actually something that I don't know if struggle is the right word, but it takes a while for the AI system to pick up the breadcrumbs that you're leaving, so to speak, as far as the context goes, and continues to use those to use it as it's going down the chat. We can do stuff like has Adam used Starlink in the last month, for instance. So we'll start to look at the IP addresses that people are using. We could ask things like, has he used Windows or an Android? And as a Mac user, so actually this is one where I don't know that the response was great, but has Adam used Windows? And it should come back and say no because I'm an Apple fanboy and I use everything iOS and Mac now. And so the goal here is to be able to do things where rather than going to the analysis screen and keep adding filters and filters and filters, you can just ask it questions about what's going on with a particular user or an IP address or soon to be applications. Has Adam ever used IT glue before? And starting to get into that. And then you'll notice that we're throwing these links at the end here. So if I click on this, it's going to bring me directly to the analysis screen, pre-filtered with the information relevant to the context as we're going. And it's continuing to be able to have us drill down and get to the actual data. So those links will eventually become even smarter to where as I'm going further down, we'll start adding in the additional search terms. So this is kind of early days. We did some banging on it yesterday, so to speak, and left with some really good improvement recommendations on questions that you all would be wanting to ask it, and then also how the responses come back. So the kind of the vision that we're headed to with this, though, is to start just being able to interrogate the data, which is what we're doing here, and just asking questions about what we see and drilling in. Eventually being able to do investigations potentially. So, hey, Adam was breached. Can you tell me what the blast zone is, for instance, for this particular one? And, start to do the investigations. And then eventually actually be able to do recommendations. So for instance, if it came back and said, Adam, outside approved location for Adams in Arizona or something, or Mexico, you could actually type in here and be like, well, actually, Adam's on vacation in Mexico for the next week. And it would be smart enough to come back and say, would you like me to add a suppression for that? Or would you like me to make an IOC for that? Can I lock the account? Those types of things is where we're headed with this. The goal is to get this into production sometime before March, maybe early March, and iterate very rapidly on that. We are going to launch it with a MSP admin scope first to try to limit the amount of folks and usage on here. And then we will have hands raised, maybe in this call, for folks who want to jump on the beta and be some of the first crash test dummies, so to speak, and provide us feedback because we will absolutely need the feedback. I see a hand raised and I see questions here, but since Ben used the little hand thing, I'll go to you first. What you got?
Yeah, so everybody knows AI uses tokens. Is there a limit that will be imposed per day, month, billing cycle? How do
Yeah.
we envision that working?
There will be. We haven't settled in on what that looks like yet. Part of the beta testing will actually be around how much each person is using it and getting a good baseline for what the token usage looks like. But we absolutely will limit it. We just don't know what yet.
And will there be API access with this?
Why you always be like API, Ben? You think this world is all about automation and
So
APIs and MCP servers
No,
now?
it's a
Ben,
fad.
we are we do plan to build an MCP server, which will
Oh,
do
cool.
even better than API for you.
Awesome. Thank you.
And Ben, we're gonna limit you more than anyone else, by the way.
You
From
probably should. I
yeah.
mean, if you see my AI usage, it's off the charts.
Yeah.
And don't you take the bullying you asked for us.
All right. So looking at the thing here, I got Andy. Can we categorize the response to breakdown from which modules this information comes from? Can we create prompts and store them for a repeatable process? Very good feedback, Andy. Today, the way it stands now, no. But that's the type of stuff that we're going to want as we release this out in the beta and get good feedback there. Mike Elders, how do we beta this? You ask. So we'll make sure that the folks on this call, honestly, you guys always get the stuff first, so you'll have it first. But I usually the way that this works is if you ask your account manager or you send an email into support, if you could include your partner ID, which if you don't know how to get to the partner ID, I'm going to show you real quick just because it'll save us all a bunch of back and forth if you ask this way. So if you come in to the settings and you go to API and you agree to the API policy and you hit show partner ID here, this partner ID that pops up, if you send that in to support or your account manager, that would be the thing that will make us be able to light it up for you faster. Oh, you want me to click and show it? I'll show it to you, Corey. You want it? I'll show it. No, I won't show it. Probably not a big deal, but all right, so that's how you get that. Let's see what else we got here. Andy, can we have the AI assistant make suggestions for possible settings changes that would help meet a particular security posture? Yes, so that is definitely a way we want to go. I suspect that Amanda is chomping at the bit to fortify this as well and be able to start maybe even controlling fortify that way. I think this is early days, and it is a crawl, walk, run scenario. And we want to make sure that it's done right before we start giving it right access, as I would imagine all of you can appreciate. Sam, getting it to help build IOCs and respond rules after investigations would be very cool. Yes, it is. And then lots of me's and stuff. Did I miss any questions? Tobin, oh, you got it.
Adam, why is there an AI assistant on the settings page? Or is that just because it's global?
Why is there an AI assistant setting in the settings page?
Right. In other words, when you go to a page where AI assistant,
got it. Yeah. So we stuck the button at the top for easy of use. We are looking at where we're going to put that in relation to where it goes on the UI. Right
make
now,
that a permission thing, so that you talked about at the admin level. Could we say some users won't have access to it and others will?
So right now, the way we have it scoped is based on partner. So basically, do you have it at all or not? And then MSP admin. And we've not exposed or created any UI that would allow you to pick and choose which users have it. But again, that's great feedback. We are also working on bringing it into the this screen here. So in addition to being able to click and see the details, there will be an AI button here. And the goal being that it'll feed the context of that particular event into the chat session as it starts. And then even further, being able to even check multiple. And then from down here, being able to say open chat window. And then you will have effectively passed the context of those events into the chat as well. So those are some small UI changes that we're talking about and trying to figure out exactly where the button goes. As you notice, it's hovering over other things. This was quick and dirty for us to start testing. All right. Do we get these chat logs, by the way, Andrew, after this, or Ben? No. So we need to like hurry up and write down all the names before we end today.
You can download the chat.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And
And
Isn't that my-
Adam, Maya's always got this in the background.
All right, cool. Awesome. Well, anybody want to throw a crazy prompt at me just for funsies and see how much you can break this thing?
Can you say, how could we better enhance security for Adam's access to Microsoft 365?
I'm gonna guess we're not ready for that one yet, but we'll type it and have some fun with it.
I'm going to tell you that would be a prompt that I would love to be able to go and demo why a client should have or a prospect should have SaaS alerts. Just bam, hidden.
Yeah.
Here are the reports. Here's what's happening. And
Adam, there's another good one that came in chat.
Oh, which is that?
I think it was show VPN connections, the last 10 VPN threat connections.
We have been talking about things. So
That's a great one.
let's see. How many VPN connections has Adam made in the last week? So the cool thing about this, as I mentioned, is all the infrastructure is there, all the pipelines are there now. Now it's a matter of us just tuning the responses and anticipating the questions that we're going to get. That is the part that honestly we started probably like early last week. It's definitely early days. So
Adam,
we do see 7.
Yeah, you could flavor this even more by, are these insecure or more secure VPN type connections? If you're able to detect that whether this is SSL or not. I mean, there's a lot that comes out of being able to interact with this, especially with a customer.
And Adam, can you pretend you're Chip and say how many times has Adam stayed at the Ritz-Carlton instead of the Travelers Rest that we told him to stay at?
You can actually, I think, give me a list of cities.
That is something pretty neat too.
I'm sorry, quick question. You keep specifying your Adam account. We can go broader than that, correct?
You can. Yeah, I just am trying to keep it cinched down because I don't know what other data might fly in here. And I know that particular account is a test data.
Hashtag demo. I get it.
I will tell you, expanding this beyond just SaaS alerts to other modules within Kaseya will be very transformative as we begin to look at Unify and those other aspects of this.
Cool. Well, that is where we're at. And again, early days. Liron is basically forcing me to show this off, even though I'm a tad embarrassed about where we are at the moment. But as he always tells me, if I'm not uncomfortable, we're probably waiting too long. So it's been a lot of work. It's been a lot of fun. It's neat to work on a project that is pushing technology as far as this AI stuff requires. It'd be really quick to just vibe code this and throw it together, but the compliance team actually wants like real humans making stuff and
imagine that
turned off, right?
I don't know why. We saw something at Write a Boom that said that's really what you want to do. Have some oversight.
Hey, so I don't know if anybody noticed, but right now it's just called AI Assistant Chat with AI. Now, I'm not going to turn this into a contest and I won't promise anything, but it's open season for anybody that wants to come up with a better name than us calling it Adam, which is what it's going to wind up being called if somebody doesn't come up with a better name than
Yeah,
It's
that's
called
Adam.
what
SaaS
AI.
AI Alerts.
Yeah, that's what
Sassy.
AI stands for. Is actually Atom Intelligence. So
Gotcha.
it's kind
No
of
I
wonder
already
we
hope you
have a
don't get
lot
it
of
wrong and
issues.
hallucinate, Adam.
bra AI. I love it, Tina.
How
We
about
call it Sassy Bot.
Sassy,
I
Oh,
don't
sassy.
Oh,
Talk to
sassy.
that's
sassy.
not
Yeah,
bad.
talk to Sassy.
That's not
Ask
Hey,
bad.
Sassy.
I think there actually is like a requirement we name it Cooper. So Chip, if you want to like
Ask
maybe
Cooper?
change that,
Oh
that would be
no.
cool.
Cooper's gone.
so hey, if we're gonna go with the dogs, do you want to just name it Lassie?
Oh.
That would be fun. Like, did Timmy stuck in the well? Did Adam have a breach? Good times. I offered actually on the call yesterday, Chip, that naming rights was $10,000 and they could make the check to me. So that's how we're doing it.
That's
So
how
I hope
we're
you
handling
accept
it.
I did a wire transfer, Adam, yesterday. You didn't get it?
that. Is that what that was? I sent it as phishing.
It was 10,000 pesos he sent, not $10,000.
Uh,
Oh, dollars?
No,
Oh,
Enrique sent 10,000 Liberian dollars.
Oh, there you go.
All right, Amanda, you got Event Hub and Anomalous Event
Yep.
update.
Let me share my screen.
Awesome.
Can you see a slide deck?
Yes.
Great. So, walking through Microsoft Event Hub, we've outlined this before, but in case people don't remember what it is, this is a product. So, you'll find it under the organization and the applications. So, you can now connect your Microsoft Event Hub to SaaS Alerts. Within your Microsoft Event Hub, you can subscribe to the various alerts that are interesting or of usefulness to you. Those alerts are then sent to SaaS Alerts, and you are able to use that data to create your own events. So you can pick and choose of those alerts if you want all of them, you only want some of them. So I have a couple of screenshots so you can see you'll get the Event Hub product in the under the application list. You'll get a screen to do the connection. And so there's just a couple of fields here that are required. We do have documentation that explains these fields. But once it's connected and the data is streaming, you're going to be able to see a new tab next to analysis. And you're going to be able to see all the raw data that's coming from your event hub. So you can isolate what the alerts look like, what data from the alerts is important to you, and you're then going to create an event definition. And so here's the screen for the event definition, and I'm going to use an example here just to kind of bring this to reality for you. So within the Event Hub, you're actually able to create an alert for a suspicious sign-in. And so in this case, we created one for a compromised admin account from Russia with high-risk indicators. And you're also able to create a specific alert for global admin role assignment. And so this is whenever the privileged escalation happens, so from one account to another account. And so you can create these different alerts and then create these as events. And so the screen is pretty similar, as you guys can see, to IOCs, where you can pick and choose what data you want from that raw event into the fields that pull into SaaS alerts. So when you're reviewing the event in SaaS alerts, you're getting the data you want in the field that you prefer it in. And what's important with an example like this, you can then take these events and you could combine them in an IOC or a respond rule, and you could block the login, you could, expire sessions, etc., do whatever you'd like. The key here too to showing you these two events as options is just to show you that with the Event Hub, you have a lot more flexibility. Right now today, Microsoft, when someone's promoted to a global admin, we actually don't get that information. All we get told is that there's a role change or a group assignment change and things like that. It doesn't tell us the role, it doesn't tell us the name, it doesn't provide any of that. It just tells you that there's a change. But with the alert, you can actually narrow it down inside the Event Hub so that you can see this level of the data and create the event inside of SaaS Alerts from there.
That's huge, Amanda. Good.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. Just that alone. Um, does the graph not allow for that information? Is that why it can't be pulled in, or is it for um, confidentiality reasons?
Microsoft just doesn't give it to us.
Yeah, okay. That's what I figured.
Yeah.
Okay. Andy.
Enrique had his hand up first, but I had put in the chat, how long is the Microsoft Event Hub data retained in SaaS Alerts?
So it's like anything else. The raw data will only be there for 3 days, and then an event is stored for, I believe, 400 days.
So when we create an event rule from Microsoft Event Hub, it retains that match for 400 days. I'm going to make sure.
No. So you create the alert that you want to subscribe to in your event hub, and then you choose if you want to create that as an event or not in SaaS Alerts. So the raw data will be streamed because you've connected your event hub, but if you do not create an event, then no data is retained. So you have to create the event, and then the event will be saved for the 400 days.
Okay, and do you have a recommendation, or can you create a recommended list of basic events that would be beneficial to import, like global admin you just mentioned would be one?
It really all depends on how people are using Microsoft Event Hub and what they're using it for.
Okay, thank you.
Enrique.
Where is this button?
Enrique, I have an email. I got an email drafted to tell you because Enrique's one of the few he offered to connect his Event Hub. So I need to show him now how to get to the raw data. It's not turned on yet, Enrique. I have an email drafted for you.
Okay, perfect. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm chopped liver again. I thought it was only Ben that treated me as chopped liver.
That's Steven.
Jerry.
Yeah. This event hub that you're talking about, is that something that's in 365 or is that something in SaaS Alerts?
No, it's a Microsoft function.
A Microsoft function. And is that function, does that require a higher level Microsoft license to access?
I actually don't know what level licensing you need for that. I'll have to ask.
It's an Azure instance, so you check out a SKU, the Azure $0 SKU, to enable your Azure tenant, and then that enables pay-as-you-go billing, so you get charged. What was the math we did, Ben? 17 cents?
Yeah, it's minimal. It's for the storage.
Don't turn on Defender because that's an extra $15. The actual top was 17 cents.
Is that per month or per gigabyte?
That was per month that we saw for the month of January earlier in the week.
I think
there's a calculator you can use on Microsoft site to estimate how much you're going to be spending, and it's pretty accurate.
Good, thank you.
Okay, yeah, I'd like to learn more about that.
And then Amanda, did you have one more?
Yep, I do. So, some like Adam's demo, some people did already hear this next spiel from Liron yesterday, but we are working on anomalous travel events. So we're leveraging machine learning to analyze events and recognize unusual patterns. The first event will be what we're calling rare travel. So as my example is Adam logs in from South Carolina solely for 6 months, and then all of a sudden Adam logs in from Winnipeg. The system will say he's never logged in there. That's an unusual pattern. It'll trigger the rare travel event, letting you know that he's in a location that he's never logged into from before. So that'll be the first event that we release. And then the next event will be impossible travel. So if Liron logs in from Connecticut at 9 a.m. and then Liron logs in from California at 9:15 a.m., he can't get from Connecticut to California in 15 minutes. So that would be an impossible travel. And that would be logged to indicate it for you guys. So those are the two things we're working on. And just like yesterday, anybody hands up if you'd like to be partner with us for testing of this. We are currently testing the rare travel event in production on our test partners, but we do need some other production partners that would like to volunteer.
What happens if one of those connections is via a VPN?
So it's not, I shouldn't say nothing, right? These are logged to let you know that something happened. And then you'll get the underlying data of the events that, I forget what we called it. The indicators, I believe is what it's called. The indicators. So you'll know the details from the indicators, the IP address, the ASN, the location, et cetera, et cetera. So you get the VPN information as well.
I have a question. Oh, Jerry, sorry. Go ahead, bud.
That's okay. I hit the wrong button.
Oh, okay. Amanda, I have a question, and if
Hmm.
I'm so off base, let me know. So one of the things I'm going to show, if we have a few minutes here, is our friends, hackers, moving away from credentials to tokens, right? That's the big shift, right, in phishing schemes. Is it possible to somehow say, hey, our default, um, you know, domain and URL to authenticate M365 is X. And if someone clicked on, a phishing token, something that would take them to an adversary in the middle type thing, kind of alert that that's not your normal login, your normal URL.
Yeah, so I don't know. And again, we haven't tested this like a tremendous amount yet, which is why we're looking for additional. But so this is the first one is looking for rare location, right? So it's
Right.
just looking for an anomaly. So
Right.
if your login comes from someplace you've never logged in from before, that should be enough for it to trigger it, right? Like
For
it's
sure.
just looking at login information for this first one and whether or not it seems like it's now if you log in 10 times a month from Florida and 10 times a month from South Carolina because you live in those two locations or your office is in those two locations, that's not gonna, it's gonna baseline you as being in both of those, and that's not gonna be considered rare.
Fair. But Chip, early on, do you get where I'm going? Like, in other words, my default URL is X and domain is X, and then here's this phishing ruse, phishing kit that's gonna take me to this other site to steal my session token. And there's that delta to go, hey, this isn't the site you normally go to for that token theft.
Miran,
Implementing, go ahead. SaaS
Go ahead.
alerts and
No, it's not ringing any bells for me.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. And by the way, Sujit, Secure Edge was at Right of Boom. They are very, very interested in expanding with the MSP base, and the head of product was there. Are you using Secure Edge?
Yeah, we're putting everybody and their grandmother on it. We're moving away from L2TP, SSL, the whole spiel. And I was just thinking about the fact that sometimes we do get false positives on certain Kaseya products, flagging things in SaaS alerts. When it's an integrated product, it would just maybe think about the VPN side since you guys were mentioning it. If that can incorporate into that, we wouldn't have to worry about, let's say, the owner of company ABC traveling to Europe. He's using the Secure Edge VPN. We know he's on the VPN. It's just one more factor that it can look at and leverage to say, okay, this is a known trusted VPN solution. The user's on a known device. And then here's the travel information to show he's traveling. Check, check, check. Low level alert. Don't need to generate a ticket. Everybody go about your day. So just more thinking in terms of another data point.
Got it. Sujit, I'm sending you a quick message because
I think we're talking about two different secure edge, Andrew.
well, Sujit, are you talking about Microsoft or Datto?
No, he's talking
Oh, no,
about
no,
Datto
Datto,
SaaS.
Datto. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot
Oh,
the Microsoft has one too. Damn
for
naming
sure.
conventions.
Okay, okay. Got it. Okay. All right, Amanda, anything else?
Nope, not for me.
Okay. Good, good. I'll just close with this. I found this article. I thought it was really good. And we can go into it more next time. And again, I will state out of the gate, nothing we haven't talked about ad nauseum. Let me just share my screen. But it was I think a really well done article. Think your ability to articulate to your clients and, speak the language of the business. So like, what does this actually mean in terms of, here's the article link. So like, how are attackers shifting? And so again, think about a business executive. They're like, okay, you're speaking Greek to me. You're speaking a different language. What actually is going on visually? And then when they understand visually what goes on, what's the end result of them taking over a session? That's where we got to get to quickly in these conversations. But I thought these visuals were really good in this article. So you could say, like, look, when the attacker, you know, goes and by the way, this is the big shift, right? That we're seeing and fair chip the data and supports this, right? That we're moving far more to this than we used to be with credentials.
Yeah, 100%, especially in
Right.
terms of what's actually successful.
Right. Right.
There's no question that shift is well underway. We've been watching it for I think 2 years just on
Right.
this call, and absolutely the data supports that is the way successful compromises are occurring. And let's not forget, oh my God, there's 2 articles I read this week on this, but let's not forget that things like YubiKey, which we push, and MFA, which we push, they won't prevent this. People still have, once you have a session token in your browser, if you allow yourself, if your customers allow themselves to be successfully social engineered, whether on the phone or through an email or a text or whatever, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how the session token was created to get you there. That prevents the brute force attacks and the password spray attacks. If you get social engineered, you're still susceptible to this. Not just Microsoft, not just Google. Any product that's being driven in a browser, it's possible to do this.
Right. And one second, Enrique. And so all I'm saying is like, this is all jargon to a business owner, right? They were like, this, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. This means nothing to me. What I was hoping with these really nice visuals is to go, okay, look, I don't want to bore you with the minutia. I just want you to be aware that the end result of this attack impacts the business in this way, impacts whether it happens to be, hey, they're going to now do business email compromise, whether they're going to, start spear phishing, whether they're going to start supply chain attacks by looking at all of your records with your suppliers, with whatever those types of things are, how they work, why they're on the rise, and then do you want to do something to prevent this? What is this? It's always, we want to get business owners away from what does it cost to what's the impact if I don't do something. So does that resonate with you guys, by the way?
For sure.
Can you go back to the image, Andrew, please?
Sure. This one or the other one?
That one.
Go ahead, Enrique.
Thanks.
You got a question, bud?
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say, I've been waiting for Ben to test what we use. We have our domain federated. We use actually a vendor that went to their first MSP show at Ride a Boom, Secret Double Octopus. And I've been waiting for Ben to fish me. Once he feels confident, he could do a man in the middle attack and see what happens.
Let's work together on that, Ben.
Enrique, people have been phishing you for years, buddy.
That's a
I already
different
have all
phishing.
your information, so
that's a different phishing.
That's that night in Vegas we talked about, the cat phishing stuff.
Oh boy, this is going downhill quick.
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, Mark.
Damn it, I forgot that statement. Oh, shit. Sorry. My bad.
So yeah, there's technologies out there that supposedly cannot be phished.
Right.
Just like there's antiviruses that have 100% efficacy.
Yeah.
Corey, I'm all game. Let's try it.
You guys definitely should schedule a call, you and Ben, because Ben has already demonstrated that Microsoft's secure token approach has its flaws. Let's put it that way. So I would love it if Ben would put the product to the test.
I'm all for it.
Sounds good.
Senor Ben?
I mean, you're going to have to be willingly phished, Enrique.
Yes.
In order to test that, of course.
Don't worry, I'll be on SIP ready to hit the button to remediate.
I will say that there's a new version of Evil Jinx coming out this year too. So
And
if I can't get you now, I can always get you later.
I'll buy it. $1,800. Let's do it.
Okay. If you want to buy it for me, I'll
The
accept it.
community version? Yeah, of course, it's a good investment.
No, the community version's free. The pro
But
version
no, the
costs
new
18.
upgraded, they're coming. Oh yeah, the new community is
Yeah, the
coming
new
out
community
with pro
version will still be
stuff.
open source.
All right,
And
guys, I got to
Pro.
jump. I apologize. I got a 2 o'clock.
All right, guys. Take care, everybody.
Ben, let's do it.
Okay.
Be safe, guys.
Bye, guys.